Hi, I'm Helen from Heritage Garden Seeds, and today I'm going to show you how to sow your lemongrass from seed. So homegrown lemongrass is far better than anything you will ever find in the shops, so it is well worth adding this to your gardening year. So I have just filled a small seed tray with some compost. This is just a quarter seed tray and that is ample just to get us started. You can also sow into modules if you want. If you're sowing into modules, then just sow a few seeds per cell. And if you're like me and going to sow your seeds into the seed tray, we're just going to scatter our seeds onto the surface of the soil. So that is how I have sown them. And then just want to cover those seeds with a thin layer of compost, or I'm actually going to use this horticultural grit, which works really, really well and just helps to keep the moisture in the soil. Obviously, covering with compost is always going to be the traditional way. This is just a method that's working really, really well for me at the moment, so I wanted to share that with you. And then we're just going to lightly water our seeds. I'm going to pop a clear propagator lid on top of my tray. If you don't have a propagator lid, then you can use like a clear plastic bag or something, and that will just help to create that greenhouse effect and keep the moisture in the seed environment. And then we want to place this tray somewhere warm. So I'm going to grow mine inside on a heated propagator. If you don't have a heated propagator, then pop them near a nice warm radiator or airing cupboard. We want to keep the compost moist but not soaking wet, and do remember that central heating systems will quickly dry out your compost. And germination times on our lemongrass seeds can be a little slow and uneven, so don't worry if you don't see all of your seedlings emerging at the same time. So once the seedlings pop through the surface and they become large enough to handle, we're going to transplant them into individual pots or into larger module trays, and we're going to keep those somewhere warm and just move them to a bright sunny location. And then we're going to grow them on for a little while so that they can put on some nice healthy top growth and develop their root systems, and then we will look to transplant them out in the spring after the risk of frost has passed. So it will be kind of late spring, early summer. As you can imagine, lemongrass comes from much warmer climate, so it's not going to be frost hardy, which is why it's really, really important that we do wait until after that last frost. And then we're going to plant them into a nice sunny sheltered spot around about 50 centimetres apart. Obviously, like everything that we grow, you will need to keep your growing area weed free and well watered, particularly during dry spells. But then you can harvest your stems as they become established and just take them from the outside first. And like I said before, lemongrass is not frost hardy. So in the autumn, before the first frosts, we want to be digging those plants out of the ground and either bringing them inside to overwinter, or they can go into a frost-free greenhouse. Just pop them up into larger pots. It would be a good idea to cut the foliage down to around about 10 to 15 centimetres just to help keep that moisture within the plant, which is going to help us to keep the plant healthy over the winter. And then next year you can transplant them back into the ground in the spring. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. The best place is always on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is Heritage Garden Seeds, or you can reach out to me on email. The email address is hello@heritagegardenseeds.com.